Welcome to episode 2, where I'm going to be talking about my research as a content creator. When creating my content, secondary research was really important for me and was vital when it came to the pre-production process and planning process. It was a really big influence on my overall decisions as it allowed me to view the current market trends and to see what content is working well and what isn't working so well. It enabled me to look at other content creators as well to see how they're doing, what type of content they did, how they designed it for me to gain inspiration and to help me along my own podcast journey. This also worked within the design process as well and allowed me to create my mood board, which is featured on my website, to see how my podcast can really resonate with Y2K. Again, I use Pinterest to kind of see how I can do that, seeing what colours come up, what type of set styles people do when it comes to creating Y2K content, and I really wanted to create something that really resonates with that and matches on theme so that it makes sure that I do engage well with my target audience. I also created mind map to help create video ideas of the year 2000s topic ideas. This came with kind of going through YouTube, researching 2000s nostalgia topics, and some of the things that came up were online games, which I really liked and I really wanted to do content of. Sort of the fashion one as well, like Y2K is such a big fashion trend, and I wanted to kind of take a research-based kind of topic, also making it engaging as well, to see how it does affect fast fashion and things like that, with it being such a big topic. And I thought these video ideas would really work well on social media, as a lot of people do have issues when it comes to fast fashion and a lot of people love the Y2K culture. To help when it came to my planning process, I studied GCSE media and A-level media, and it was always stressed about the importance of creating pre-production documents when it came to creating content and planning content and things like that. So to further my knowledge on sort of like actually filming and like podcasting and things like that, which was a topic I was not too familiar in, I ensured to research into other podcasts to see how long they had their podcast at, how they structured it, to kind of gain inspiration, and obviously understanding the structure and how podcasts work well on social media. It will allow me to create a podcast that will be engaging on social media. And I feel like this is evident throughout my whole podcast that I've done. For example, on one of the videos I have about online gaming, someone commented on there and was like going through timestamps. So it shows to me that while people do actually watch it, people watch the full video. So it shows to me that my research has gone really well because people have clearly watched it and engaged with my video. So again, I really accurately researched into how people create a podcast, how long it was on for, the duration style, what works well on social media. I wanted to make sure it was engaging as possible to my target audience, including to get the best reach as well. So in all elements such as the episode ideas, the design process, the house style, branding, it was all within my target audience's interest to mind. As otherwise, my content would struggle as it's not appealing to anyone. In terms of being considerate to all of my target audiences, including anyone that isn't my target audience, I wanted to make sure that my video isn't offending others and taking ethical considerations to account. In my first episode, where I'm researching into the media culture in the year 2000s, it is quite a sensitive topic when it comes to some elements of the year 2000s. I've ensured to kind of stay away from the very kind of the bad things that I could be or been talking about. I kind of wanted to make it not so much focused on the brutal truth. Although my video still provides context into what celebrities have faced media scrutiny and things like that, I don't include sort of topics that may offend some viewers, may upset some viewers. It kind of gives a detailed insight to the year 2000s journalism itself and not going through some examples. It kind of gives an overall outlook into the era, not so much kind of case studies and things like, is it going to offend others? I didn't want to make it like an in-depth sort of analysis video. I wanted to also make it, informative, entertaining, but I did not want to go into such detail because I feel like that would not entertain people. The way that I've structured the podcast in terms of how we are with each other, I think it's conversational, it's friendly and it's fun and engaging, and I think it works really well. And to kind of give an overall view on that, I think my podcast has worked really well in terms of kind of keeping it, lighthearted and not so much into the nitty-gritty, but also still giving some, industry context on what happened, and I'm really pleased with how well the video has done. Overall, this project allowed me to build on my researching skills, planning and the creating of content. I've definitely learned a lot of new skills that I've improved on along the way, especially when it comes to like the post-production editing, the initial creating content, the planning of an actual media, product. Obviously, my skills set from GCSE media were kind of very not practical based. So I have learned a lot and I'm really proud with the skills that I've learned. Overall, research was a really big, important factor that I had to consider when planning my project. Researching into my target audience, researching into my branding, house style, the Y2K theme, search terms, how podcasts work, how to make an engaging podcast. Research allows me as a content creator to gain inspiration for others, scope out the market to see what's working and not working, as well as kind of gaining a brand identity and researching into how I can make my brand fit the theme of Y2K. And I feel like I've effectively done that through secondary research. I looked at other 2000s content creators, gained inspiration from the colour schemes and sort of the design ideas. I looked on Pinterest, as shown on my website. I've done a mood board which showed set design and kind of like the pink colours. Within my research, I was able to establish a house style, establish ideas in terms of my competitors, and see what I can do as my own self in Totally Y2K to stand out and be a niche in a market that is oversaturated when it comes to 2000s content. By doing this, I feel like my content has proven to be engaging, and it's clear to me that I have done really good research into what works. For example, my competitor has done a Y2K podcast, but they have done it over a FaceTime, so it's a screen recorded sort of content. Whereas I want to ensure that I do an in-person design and make sure that I am present on set in a high quality environment. It is also notable that high quality content works great on social media and it almost becomes visually pleasing. That was one of my main sort of musts when it came to my research. I researched in how I can make my set design look good, I researched into what other things that I can get to make my set look well, research into lighting, really took on board the practical lessons in Paul's lectures when how I can kind of use lighting to create an effect on the video. I feel like I've done so much planning and research where I can confidently say I'm really pleased with the content I've produced. I'm really proud of how well structured these videos are. I really kind of looked into other podcasts as well to see what works, and people do really like educational content and sort of debate content, and I feel like with my co-host also being a journalist, it kind of adds that authentic effect to the video. Another factor that I researched into was kind of production, how people produce podcasts, and notably they use high quality cameras. And I really wanted to do that, but I really wanted to use the skills that I've learned on this course to be able to do that. Therefore, I really wanted to refrain away from the iPhone content, as this wouldn't feel like I've learned and come a long way from the course. I am proud to say that when using the camera equipment, I feel like I have taken everything that I've learned from the practical lessons and inputted that into my own content. And I feel like that is really evident, that I've used the skills that I've learned from Paul and my other peers as well to create Totally Y2K. I've learned so much when it comes to pre-production, post-production, notably when editing. I really didn't have much skills when it comes to editing long format, and it was really quite hard to begin with, but I feel like I've really grown along the way and I'm finding myself learning new skills as I go along. Also, these will be things that I'll be also improving on over time and will be inputting into my sort of my work and when I work in the industry as well. So these skills I've really built and improved on over the last year, which I didn't know before. When it came to sustainability, on set, I ensured whenever I wasn't filming or we had breaks between filming, all cameras would turn off, not only for environmental purposes, but because the cameras may overheat, and this could cause a problem when it comes to filming, the camera may short. So I really ensured to take time out to also ensure to look after the equipment I was using and be sustainable on set. I also ensured on set using products from around the house that I've got in my bedroom to sort of use set design, so I wasn't buying anything as much as I would do if I wasn't being sustainable. Just ensuring that I'm turning off lighting when I'm not using it and just giving the devices a break when it's not in use.